my channel, welcome back to a new. My name is Lisa and today we're going to be doing the fantasy bingo board. 25 books I don't want to read this year situation here. That is a year-long read-along thing on the Reddit. So I saw Jade from Jade Reads do a video recently, and I've also seen Cassidy from Goes to Cassidy and Mel from Eleanor Reads. They have all done videos on this readathon thing that was started on Reddit. I will leave everything linked down below if Edit and Lisa can remember to do so. And I thought that it'd be quite fun to get involved. Some of these I have already read, and some of these I have not read. There is a bingo board as per the thumbnail, and you can probably tell by the title. And I'm just going to go through a couple of books that I would like to read to fit said prompts. I'm not going to take all these off my shelves because I am lazy and I don't want to do it. So I'm just going to go through what the prompts are, what I've chosen, and whether I've read it or not already. There's 25 books, 25 prompts, 25 things to do. So, and the only rule that they've got for like the normal mode is that you can't pick the same author more than once, and then there is a hard mode that makes it obviously harder, but I've chosen to just go for normal mode. So the first prompt is, first square, is title with a title, and I have gone a cheeky one with this. I can't find anywhere where it says you can't pick manga, so I've picked a manga. And if that's not something I can pick, I can choose something else at a later date. But these are the ones that immediately came to mind when I was looking through the prompts. So, the Dr. Stone by Richiro Inagaki Boichi. I'm sorry if I butchered that. I apologise. But that is the book that I'm going to pick. That was gifted to me by Liam, so thank you very much, Liam. And yeah, that shouldn't take me too long to read. I've not read that yet, so there's that. The next one is superheroes, and I have chosen a graphic novel for that one. There are some Marvel graphic novels on Kindle Unlimited, and I'm going to pick one of them. Because, if you know, I'm doing a lot of reads for Scribd 9. A lot of them are chunkier books, so I can get to fulfill all these prompts with some fantasy books, but without having to strain myself too much. I like that. Unless one of the Scribd books that I have includes superheroes, then that's gonna be that. The other one that I could potentially pick for this would be Wistful Ascending by JCM Byrne. I could pick that. It's like a fantasy sci-fi blend situation. I could pick that. Next one is Bottom of the TBR. I've picked Marissa Mayer, Heartless. That is a book that I need to get to this year anyway. I will at least attempt it because it's part of my self-destruct TBR that I started at the beginning of January. So it will definitely get read at some point this year. And that is on my self-destruct because I've had it for a while and just not touched it. The next one is magical realism or literary fiction, and this is such a weird coincidence. I was looking through my shelves and I couldn't find any books that could be seen as magical realism, and it just so happened that I think it was like the day of or the day after I watched Jade's video and I started looking for these books that an author called Tyler Miles reached out to me and said, would you like to review my book? It's called Have Mercy, and this is a magical realism book. And it's just perfect. So I'll be reading that. It's just timing. Next one is YA. I could pick so many for these, but I did myself a favour and picked a book that I've already read, which is Serpent and Dove by Shelby Mahurin. Give it 5 stars. Give it 4 stars first time round. Reread was 5 stars, and I've picked that. And then the next one is Mundane Jobs, and obviously, as you all probably are aware if you've watched me for any length of time, I received an Arc of Bookshops and Bone Dust last week by Travis Baldry, and there is a lovely little librarian in there That's a mundane job. And I'm almost finished with that book. Spoiler, 5 stars, great. And then the next one is published in the noughties. So in the 2000s. I'm struggling with that. I probably could use one of my Cassie Clare books for that. I'm going to double check. I need to go back and look at the beginning of the year and find and remember which Cassie Clare book we read for like January, February, March, and see if any of them were like before 2010s. Because if they were, I can use one of them. If not, I'm going to have a look through what I've already read or that I've got planned to read. But a lot of the books I have are indie books that are currently released or newer releases that I've just picked up because I only got back into reading in 2020. So a lot of the books I have picked up are newer ones. And yeah, I don't know. So that's going to be a bit of a struggle, I think, unless something I've read was released before 2010 and I haven't thought about it yet. But I think one of my Cassie Clare books can fit this. If not, I'll find something. I will. Next up, Angels and Demons, and I have picked Malevolent 7 by Sebastian Castell. Are we surprised? Nope. I received a final copy of this from the publishers. I have the audiobook. I will be reading it this year without a doubt. So, not much more to say on that. Next, we have 5 science fiction fantasy short stories. And, oh damn it, I've just realised I can't use a Cassie Clare book because I've used a Cassie Clare book, this one. So I picked Ghost of the Shadow Market for this. That is a collection of short stories. I could have used Tales of the Shadowhunter Academy. They were a collection of short stories that I read this year. So I'm going to have to rethink the book that was brought out in the noughties. I don't know yet. Next we have horror, and I've already read this. It is Girl in Red by Christina Henry. I read that this month. It was great. It was fabulous 5 stars. So we're winning. And then the next one is self-published or indie publisher, and I've picked Swordsman's Lament by GMY. I'm currently reading that. It's great. A lot of my reads this year, to be fair though, a lot more of my reads have been indie, so I could have picked anything for that. So next one is published in 2023, Ryan Cahill of War and Ruin. I'm going to read that this year because the audiobook comes out in a couple of months. So as soon as the audiobook comes out, snapping it up, getting it and reading it. Next one is set in the Middle East or Middle Eastern science or fiction fantasy, and I'm going to pick Adventures of Elmina Al-Sarafi by Shannon Chakraborty. I haven't got this yet. I wanted this one for a while, and the more that I see people talk about this, the more that I want to get it. Loads of people have loved this. I loved the City of Brass, like the David Bad trilogy. It was brilliant, and I'm really excited to read this. And I think that it's an older protagonist. There's like a seafaring one. It looks great. It sounds great, and I'm really excited to get to it. Next one is Multiverse and Alternate Realities. This one is one I don't have yet, but I have book 4 in the series, so if I wanted to just read book 4 to complete the prompt, I could do. But this is Strange Worlds Travel Agency by L.D. Lipinski. I wanted to read their books for a while. I bought book 4, don't ask me why, before reading the first 3 books. So I will get hold of the others somehow and read book 1. I will. I won't read them out of order. I know that some people will have heard me say that and panicked, and I'll probably get a message off someone saying, "Don't you dare!" I won't. And if I do, I won't tell you. Next one is POC Author, and this, I'm going to read The Art of Prophecy by Wesley Chu. I have heard so many good things about this book. Jade from Jada Reads raved about it. Sounds like it's going to be right up my alley. I have the special edition from Broken Binding. I'm so excited. Much wow. I need to find time to read this because I'm excited to get to it. I actually have 3 copies, 2 physical, 1 ebook. so I have no excuse. Do I have it on audio as well? I think, I can't remember. Next one is book club or read along book. So this is not just any old read along or book club. It's one that they've done on the Reddit. So I had a look through what they've done, and The Undertaking of Heart and Mercy by Megan Bannon is one that popped out at me because Chloe's read this, Meg has read it and loved it, Tori's read it and loved it, and I think Becca's now read it and she really enjoyed it as well. So yes, I'm going to be reading that. I don't know what that was about, but yeah. Next we have a novella, and I'm going to read The Revenge of Thousands by Michael Roberta. I'm reading The Traitors We Are by Spitball 9. He has sent me his novella as well, and it is a teensy one. It's fine. I'm going to whiz through that, so that'll be that one. And the next one is Elemental Magic. I am going to be either rereading Flames of Mirror by Claire Harmon, or if I can get hold of it, I'll be reading his second book if it comes out in time. That's due out, I think, once it gets pushed back, I think it's due out in a couple of months. So either way, it'll be a Claire Harmon book. Next we have Mythical Beasts, and I'm going to read Scandal and the Unicorn Thief by AJ Steadman. I have had this on my TBR since it came out. I pre-ordered it because I was really interested in it, and then it just went and sat on my shelf. I've heard it has Percy Jackson vibes, but I've never read Percy Jackson either. Don't come for me. I will at some point read the Percy Jackson series, but it's a long one, and it's a commitment. And I've already committed to some lengthy series, and a lot of things I've committed to at the moment. So committing to a lengthy series like Percy Jackson is not something that I can add to my TBR at the moment, but it is something that I do want to at some point. So do not fret. I will read it at some point. Next up we have Myths and Retellings. I am going to reread Circe by Madeline Miller. I have it on audio. I initially read this and gave it 3 stars, but the reason I'm rereading it is because I went into it thinking I'd never read a retelling prior to this, I don't think, or if I had, I'd read Law, which was totally different, and like it was more like, it was like an urban fantasy, whereas this is quite a quiet fantasy, and it actually follows Circe. So I went in expecting one thing and got another, and I think the reason why I gave it 3 stars is because I was expecting this wild magical fantasy following Circe and her using her magic and stuff, and like, cause you know, and you know, it mentioned witches, and I was like, oh my god, there's gonna be like witches and it's gonna be great. But it is very much a quiet fantasy, like myth retelling that follows Circe in her life. I think if I go into it again knowing that, then I might enjoy it more. I'm not saying it's going to be a new 5-star prediction, a new 5-star read for me. It probably won't, but if I might enjoy it a bit more. I'm hoping that I do, because I want to read Song of Achilles, and I want to reread Circe before I do that. I know they're not linked, but I would still like to do that. Next up we have A Queer Nom Setting, and I'm going to read either Dragonfall by L.R. Lamb, or I'm going to reread Cruel Gods by True Disguise, because I want to read the second book in that series. Next up we have Coastal or Island Setting, and I'm going to finally read Malamander by Thomas Taylor. I have heard so many people mention this book. It's a middle grade, it's going to be quick and easy to read. I've heard so many people love it. I think it's about a place called Erie-on-Sea, and that's all I know, and it's supposed to be great. Becca loves it, my mum loves it, Sharon, and yeah, I need to read it. I'm sure Sharon's read it. I think Sharon's read it. If not, I've just made that up in my brain, just put it out there. Next we have Druids, and I've been told, and after watching Jade's video, I've just copied Jade on this one, I'm going to read In the Lives of Puppets by TJ Cullen. I have 2 copies of this book, so I'm going to read that. The next one is Features Robots, and I've been wanting to read this for so long. Everybody that I know that's read this has loved this, and it's Sound for the Wild Built by Becky Chambers. I've been told that I will enjoy this. It's like a cozy sci-fi following like a T-Monk in a world where robots like are no longer supposed to exist. I think it's supposed to be a really cute, cozy sort of short, like sci-fi. So again, I put some short books in this because I don't want to overwhelm myself. And then finally a sequel, and I've got that on my TBR for June, which is Unbound by Michael R. Miller. But a lot of books that I've read this year are sequels, so I could have picked anything. So those are the 25 books that I want to read, with some that I'm going to have to rethink. I don't know what I'm going to pick for the published in the noughties. I have to have a look through the books I've read and the books that I want to read and see if I can find something. Thank you very much for joining me. If you like me and you want to see more of me, please like, comment, subscribe to all that good stuff down below. And if you're here and you want to let me know you're here but you don't have anything to say, then please leave a black heart. It's very much appreciated. Until next time, enjoy what you were reading, and I'll see you all soon.
Tell me why every time I fall in love it seems